Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
All right. I don't know. Jesus Christ.
Oh, no, you're going.
Oh, I'm going?
Yeah.
All right. Fine. I was checking my look in the mirror when I found out we were rolling. Hi, Pamela.
Hi.
So we're going to talk about the penis.
Okay.
What is it? The lingam in Hindu? Yeah. I feel like the way that I was regarded in business definitely helped me in situations where I had no power. Like when I went into the hospital, there were definitely people on my side, don't get me wrong. And I don't remember what I told you about being in the hospital, but it was brutally humiliating. And it just made me think, did I tell you that?
You told me a little bit about it, but I don't know details. And I want to hear, but I'd like to hear what, I think that what you might have to share in terms of what it's like to be respected, even though it's in a professional setting by men.
Well,
so that we have an understanding of what we might want to reach for. And not me personally, but other women.
Okay, but know that this has got a brutal autistic slant.
All right.
I was protected in ways I didn't know. I was also 5'8", had red hair to the middle of my back, was 135 pounds, and had my humor and my wit. And, there were other factors that didn't matter to me, but they certainly mattered to other people. So I don't want to discount the fact that, I definitely had some things in my favor that I wasn't thinking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I first went down to be in financial services in Florida, I was unaware of demographics. I was unaware of sexism, racism, all that stuff. I just thought I was going to go down there and make a demographic decision to start my practice and things were going to rocket. So I talked my boss, I think I've told this story before, who became my boss. I talked him into hiring me in the hall, but coming into an admin position working for him before he put me into training. And I was 22, and it was 1992. So I wasn't, all the isms, I was just really unaware of. I thought men and women were equal. It's the way my father, my father was a very, sometimes I think my mother really impacted me, but it was probably more my father when it came to what I was capable of.
Mm-hmm. He
was a force. He was a force. So yeah, I always, when I hit heads with people, I always had the humor, but I had enough support. I always had, like a year and a half into being this man's admin, I was really creating problems for a woman who oversaw the admins. She was a manager type. I'm trying not to use the terminology because I don't I can't really talk about finance too much because
Sure.
this is not a financial podcast, but she really had problems with me. And so his idea was to demote me from working as his assistant to working with a couple consultants as their assistant. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be his assistant and use it as a bridge to going into consulting. So he made the mistake of telling everybody around me that that's what was going to happen. And then he pulls me into the office to tell me last. And by the way, he was on his way on a nice vacation, and I always covered him for him when he was on vacation. So that was also pending. But he said to me, "This is what's going down." And I said, "Hey, I understand this is a pink slip. I understand that I create a problem for so and so." I said, "But I'm not going to do that." And it was a Friday, and he said, "You need to think about this over the weekend." I said, "Nah, I don't." I said, "I got a friend coming into town." I said, "I quite frankly don't want to talk about it or think about it." And I walked in Monday morning, and he said, "Okay, everything stays the same." So I guess I just had it, and I didn't, and I always had, even if I got my balls busted, there was always a man standing up telling me what I was missing, telling me what I needed to see. I was very well guided by those who cared about me. And I think I cultivated that because I wasn't, I could be an asshole, but I wasn't an asshole. And I really loved finance. So yeah. And then a lot of my clients were male. I thought I was going to do work with women and help business owners. Women didn't want anything to do with me, but the men didn't mind. So and I really have a deep, rich appreciation for men. I've never been somebody who didn't see both sides, as we were discussing prior. But I got it. I got it and got great guidance and good respect and could get things done, even though I wasn't a top producer by any means. I just knew how to get things done for both my clients and build relationships.
So do you attribute that to, maybe having more confidence in that arena? Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And I don't know where that stems from. Esteem and worth are different than confidence. But
yes.
but that, also, I, at that point, I didn't recognize I had 3 much, much older brothers. Pretty, when you're raised by wolves, you become one, but I was a wolf with empathy. I was a wolf, a different breed of wolf. Mm-hmm. But I had, the humor. I remember doing things in that office and having things happen. It was hysterical. And I had and it didn't bother me to be disliked, which is like a superpower when you're autistic.
That is such a superpower. It really is.
And I was
Think about that as it relates to estrangement. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Say that again?
I think about that as it relates to estrangement, that my child doesn't like me, right? And so it can work in your favor if it's tempered with that, that unconditional love, that
my
energy.
Boys, I raised, do I want to say this? I raised 2 boys very much within patriarchy. Before I had boys, I was always involved in projects for women and girls. I had boys. I flipped, got involved in advocacy for against ADHD medication, and I did the boy journey. And then once my boys were raised, I flipped back to women, whereas I wish I had cultivated more. My boys respect women. That's not what I mean, but they weren't raised to see women as equals to men, and that's partially on me. I think I thought it was, but it wasn't. You know what I mean?
You sure about that?
Oh, I know they're formidable because of me in ways, but I don't think I did too much. I made women, I endured, I tolerated, I did all those shitty things. I stayed with their father. I tolerated the males in my family. I tolerated the males and females on the side of my ex. I had lost what made me me because all of a sudden I was dependent on others.
Yeah.
Which is what happens to women when you have kids, or you want to take care of your mother, or all of a sudden you're, whatever. I don't feel like I feel like I'm back to my old self as much as I can be. I had an experience, and I can't tell you what happened, but had an experience, a couple experiences recently as a woman, 56, trying to do a couple things in business. It's interesting. It's interesting what's changed and what hasn't. And forgive me, but I need to be coy there because the respect at 56 isn't the same when you haven't accomplished. Nobody gives a shit that you took care of your kids and you took care of your mother. And all of a sudden that bites us, especially when you have an industry that now is looking at younger people and supporting the man with kids, a wife, and a mortgage.
Right.
Yep. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh, I do. I do. I do. I do. And I keep hoping that it's going to shift to where it needs to be, but I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I do. I hear you.
That's one of the reasons. There, I get the funky scarf again. I gotta fix my scarf. It keeps it like over the course of the podcast. I must be hitting it with one hand, and then it doesn't matter. Yeah, I that's why I just the creative stuff and the humor about it is saving my ass because we just have to be laughing more.
Yeah. Well, this is so true. We do. We need that. We need that.
Do you have, I hope I answered your question about the respect. I mean, I just, I wouldn't have known otherwise. Like, I wouldn't, like, even when things were said to me, like, don't you want to make more money? I would say, well, if I had a wife and an assistant, maybe I could,
Yeah, right.
I just always knew what to say. I didn't think making more money made me a better advisor. And I also was heavily invested in real estate. And that's what I lost as a result of a certain individual.
I'm sure.
So, yeah. And I so I had a great financial plan. It just took two people.
Right. Right. And I think, just kind of getting back to the whole respect thing, I think of my own personal experience of moments when I had gained respect from the certainly men that, I loved and love in my life. And just how different that was, like dramatically different, in such a way that kind of really makes you see. That's when, you sort of wake up to those moments of being completely disrespected and not having that voice, not having any little power, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's what drove in my family and my marriage. That same person that was respected in business was getting annihilated for the same traits.
Right. Oh, for the same traits.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It the very things that do you know what I mean? Like
so to keep you down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was fun to be around, but it couldn't outperform, couldn't be funnier, couldn't be smarter.
Yeah.
And my mentor in finance, when I went into the consulting role, shot himself in the head.
Oh my gosh.
And I often have thought, if I was still working as his assistant and he did that, it would have done me in. I was quote unquote grateful that I had moved into another capacity before he took his life, because the year and a half we had together is the reason I'm in finance. He was fabulous.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's something I don't often think about, the impact, but it gave me perspective, and there's more there, but it just came up for me, so forgive me.
It's okay.
Yeah, he had a lot of respect for me. He gave me a lot of power in the office, and I didn't realize it. He had an agenda for me that I think. He was the type of guy who would walk by my desk and throw, like, and I don't mean this to sound trite, it wasn't, but he'd like go out and knew what kind of candy I'd like and just throw it on my desk when he was walking by.
Yeah.
And one time I wore a dress and it was a little too revealing, but I didn't know it till I sat down. Yeah. And I guess it was kind of the talk of the office. And I was probably with my ex-husband. We were probably together, boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. And he just walked by me and he goes, "Does Jim know you're wearing that dress?" And I went, "Oh, okay, got it." I was dense. I was thick, but it was in the best of ways. You could either take advantage of it or you could fry me for supper. So talk about your soulmate.
Yeah. Well, okay. So my opinion about soulmates, my thoughts and experiences, are that soulmates don't necessarily mean that they're the perfect person, that they're our person for life. That soulmates are sometimes come into our lives to shake us up, to wake us up, to just do all these things that are really difficult and hard on us. And that's it. And then there are what I call divine partners.
Okay.
And those divine partners are the ones who are just, are meant to be with us for our lives. And it's usually after we've gone through all of the crap. So like my ex-husband, was probably a version of a soulmate because of everything that I learned and woke up from, just like you were talking about, and got me on a discovery, on a path of who I am. But what happened? So I describe it as being awful and magical all in one. That time after I woke up, after I had that experience, when I was kind of going into searching more about spirituality and being able to communicate and healing, etc., it was painful because of what I was healing from in the past, but it was also magical because of what I was learning and what new doors and discoveries were opening up for me. So it was never one or the other, but it was kind of both. And during that time, I began to think about what would my ultimate partner be like. And then I began to think about, wait a minute, what would the ultimate relationship that I would want to be like? And that was easier than trying to picture the person, right? And so I kind of got into, I don't know if you want to call it a manifestation or what, but making notes. I would want this in my relationship. I would want that in my relationship, right? Just getting really creative. And I was observing people I was observing couples, I should say, and how they were getting along, how they were speaking to each other, and how they were treating each other. And I know that, behind closed doors, things might be different, but I noticed what I liked more and what felt really good and resonated with me. And I dated, but nothing fit. Nobody, it just didn't really do it for me. And I was just still getting on with my life, and I decided I'm going to go back to school. It just felt, I have to tell you the story about how I went back to school. So I worked in corporate travel services for like 18 years. That was my career. And at the end of that time, that was when I sort of went on this discovery of healing work and spirituality. And I remember sitting at my desk one day going, damn, I would love to be in a place that was, peaceful and had, all these beautiful smells and just sounds. And, I didn't want to be in the office. And the day came when and actually the whole office got laid off because we lost the account we had. And I thought, oh my God, this is perfect. I can go back to school. And maybe if I get into massage therapy, that can be another career, but at least I'll be in a place that I really want the environment that I want to be in. So I took my severance, I took my unemployment, and I was a single mom. So I even took my chances, and I went back to school, and it was so fun. I was the oldest person there. I was in my 40s, early 40s. And everybody else was, in their early 20s, maybe even younger than that. And it didn't matter. I mean, I got along with them, and we had a great time, and I loved learning. I was just learning more about healing. I was just learning about the body more, etc. And the soul group that I think I had mentioned before, that I found where I met the shaman who was a mentor, was part of a healing, like a sanctuary. It was like a healing sanctuary. They did a lot of different things there. They had treatment rooms and a lot of different events that were going on there. A beautiful place. And the owner, who I was friends with, told me that I was free to use the treatment room if I needed to practice to get my hours in to become licensed and certified, which was great. I already had a place now. And through that, I met a gentleman who, he kind of like came into this group, but wasn't really a permanent part of it. And he had a lot of back pain, and he was very interested in, getting my practice in. So I was able to practice on him. We kind of set that up, and I was logging my hours. And he loved that I was doing this, but also that I was very spiritual, which was interesting, I thought, because I had a very limited viewpoint of men in general in terms of their openness to that at that time, with the exception of my shaman friend, obviously. So he started bringing all these people he knew to come see me. And I was working on them, and I'll never forget this. One day, he liked to talk a lot during the massage. So one day, he was telling me, he goes, "Oh, I got to send you this guy." And and his name is Richard, but he calls him Dick. Everybody calls him Dick. So, not because he is one, though. So he's like, and he starts laughing. And I'm like, what? He goes, "He's just so funny. You're going to love him." And I stopped what I was doing because I had such a strange feeling come over me that there's something about this guy, that this guy Dick, that is going to be meaningful to me. Didn't know what it was. I just knew that it was going to be really meaningful. So the day comes, he sets it up. He set it up for him. And because this sanctuary was like a house. And I was there practicing, and nobody else was there, just me. So I opened the door to greet Dick. And I looked at him, and I knew that I just knew he was my guy. He was my person. I knew that I knew him many lifetimes.
Yeah.
It just, everything was going so fast in my head. And at the same time was, stop. You're a professional. There are ethics involved. You can't become romantically involved with a client.
Leave your underwear on. You told Dick to leave his underwear on.
Right. Oh, that's one of the funniest parts of this too, because the thing that you say is, you can undress to your level of comfort and you leave the room and, knock before you re-enter to make sure that they're okay. And he's always, saying that to me. Let's undress to our level of comfort. Anyway, sorry, maybe too much information for some people, but yeah, and we talked the whole time like we were picking up where we
come on, what was
left
Dick's
off.
level of comfort?
Oh, sorry. I think he did leave his underwear on
Smart guy.
that time. Yeah. Um, yeah, so it took a month of what do we do with this? And let's just date, when we both knew that it was going to be more than, a date. And yeah, so we've been together ever since. It was 20 years ago.
So
19 years ago, I guess.
Now I know why you said that to me, because you said in one of my podcasts, you heard me mention my divine
partner, or divine
masculine. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's either going to happen or it won't. I ain't chasing nothing.
No, that's my point, is that you don't chase it.
I'm the runner this time around. I also am very aware of that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. So that everything points to me loving myself and doing what I'm doing. So, but yeah, Tom Bushku, if I don't know if you've listened to when I talked to Tom did the same thing. He started to write down what he was looking for, and she manifested.
Yeah.
I wrote something. I and again, I'm very introverted, and I there's this word now called outrovert. Somebody
Really?
who, yeah, that's sort of I would formally have said extroverted introvert, but there's this word outrovert, which really is on point. And I was thinking, what do I want? And I'm like, I want a lair with a moat around it. I want good music. I want exercise. I want good food. I want my pets. It's pretty simple stuff. But I suppose I want, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to happen, but I'm okay if it doesn't. My concern is if it doesn't, I probably won't settle, which is kind of unnerving. But whatever. I guess
I don't know what you mean, like that you won't settle. Can you?
Like if I don't meet him, that I would start to just want to meet somebody for companionship.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I think that's okay too.
Yeah, the Kundalini really woke me up to not sharing energy with and having shared energy with the wrong men.
Yes.
And recognizing, like, again, there was always a part of me that knew, but it was unconscious. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna take somebody that oof. But I also know, because people have said it to me, that I'm easy for a handful of people in my life, and I also know that person's going to be easy. Fantastic energy and the good stuff, but also just easy. Home.
Home, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be an over-the-top constant experience. It feels like home.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, this concludes number 5, right? Wow, that went quick.
I know.
Thank you for asking me that respect question, because it really allowed me to feel and remember how it and I thank you. It's a question I've not been asked and not contemplated.
No, you're welcome. I think that, again, a lot of women want to know what is that? What is that experience? Because they don't have it, and to have a comparison, I think is great for many. And I think you're fortunate.
And it's also what I would look for in a divine partner, is that confidence.
Right. That's what it comes back to. Somebody doesn't feel threatened. Mm-hmm.
And I've never known that.
Who actually supports it and holds it up.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. And that is very, I think it's come up. I think, again, also with Tom, I think he said that men want a confident woman. And I said, no, they don't. You know, and I also would argue to the death they can be used for sex, but you know, that's just me. And I think some of my experiences are, I know they are, as a result of talking to people close to me, that there is some beat of my own drum things going on, and it's just the owner of the company that produces this podcast says, well, you know how unique you are, and I'm like, no, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think about it.
Right.
You know, I just don't, even though push comes to shove, I know what they mean. But I don't feel at odds with the world, and I don't feel like I don't fit in. I don't have that part.
Right.
So,
right.
Again.
Well, that's really unique and valuable quality to have. So.
Pamela, this has been a pleasure. I am so glad to know you. I am so glad that you are on the planet. I'm so glad you have Dick's dick. What else? And thank him too for just allowing you to be who you are in ways that, you know, how beautiful it is to have one another.
Thank you. I will. I thank him every day for being the kind of man he is that supports me this way. Yeah, lucky. It's good to know that they exist.
Yeah, I and it still does not seem. I want it for everybody. I want everybody to be able to experience that energy. I do experience it in the higher levels, and I can't always distinguish whether it's male energy or my own divine feminine blossoming, but regardless, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And so I don't know if that's part of the manifestation, but it's just, you know, and very often it isn't my energy. And it's whatever. I do think there's something to be said for how, like I said earlier, that's going to be when we, like, the feeling you had is going to drive people towards locations, or, you know what I mean, towards experiences, which you could argue did happen in your situation. It just took another member to bring you two together.
Yeah. Which I'm very thankful for. And I'm thankful for you too. I'm so thankful you're here on this planet. That's such a wonderful thing to say. And I appreciate that you said that about me. And I certainly feel the same way. And thanks so much for this opportunity to just talk.
And the work you're doing. I mean, I couldn't do it. Yeah. I'd have to be able to commit at least 2-3 homicides. I'd kill a few mothers. I would. I would. Yeah. Truth be told.
I would like to work with a few fathers, you know,
they need
really
it.
Get some experience.
They need it. I have a few men coming on that are going to, I mean, I could talk to you all day, but I do really enjoy talking to men, and I have a couple men slated to come on, and I want to, I've always appealed to men and women, and I don't want to ever suggest that women have the corner on this estrangement thing. They don't, man.
No, I know they don't. Yeah.
And yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna miss you.
I know. Well, maybe
You're not so far away. And when I put those, I said it off air, but I'll say it on air. I'm going to start to do, I figured out from podcasting, I told Pamela, I'm going to start to do small groups on Zoom and live and do an hour-long seminar. I think the book's Laugh So I Don't Die, so the seminar might be Laugh So We Don't Die.
Yeah.
And I've had some other names be thrown around, just talking to people about heavy-duty stuff and making it funny. And, finding a place for the humor.
It's so needed. And you're remarkable to bring that in. It's great.
Oh, yeah. And I don't feel sorry for those who mistreated me.
Mm-hmm.
It's their comeuppance.
Right.
You picked on the wrong broad.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
But I forgave them first.
Yeah, you don't need to carry that around.
No, it's not mine to carry.
No, that's true. It's not. Very true.
Anyway, I'm procrastinating. Brian's looking at me funny. All right. Thank you. Be well. We'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds wonderful. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. J-Ma.